Hey everybody, today we're looking at Maslow's triangle. Maslow's triangle and the hierarchy of needs. So back in the 1900s, in the mid to late 1900s, Abraham Maslow, a psychologist, he came up with this idea for the hierarchy of needs. And what he's saying here is that your brain is all, I'm drawing as I'm talking, is that your brain is thinking about certain things more so than other things. And so he has, in his original triangle, he has 5 different levels, like so. And so we're going to go through the levels quick here. Well, quick, I'm going to talk and I'm going to have stories, so we'll just go with what I go with, right? So this first level is the physiological level. So physiological means your body's needs. And so Maslow says that if you have physiological issues, you're always going to be thinking about that. So the most important physiological issue that somebody would have is that they can't breathe. So air being the most important thing, oxygen, right? If you are choking on something, you're not worried about your math homework, you're not worried about trying to fill up your car's gas tank, you're worried about trying to get your next breath of air. So air is the most important, obviously. And so how long can you go without air? Well, goodness, if I count to 3 and you start holding your breath, 1, 2, 3, how long can a person go without, taking a breath? Guinness Book of World Records, I just looked this up, the Guinness Book of World Records for just breathing in a regular air and holding your breath is about 11 and a half minutes. 11 and a half minutes. Some of you have been now holding your breath for like 15 seconds. And you're struggling, right? So 11 and a half minutes. Now, that's not like the world's record for, well, that's the world's record for pure air, but for pure O2, which means that they take oxygen tank and they breathe through the oxygen tank about 20 minutes before they actually take a breath, before they hold their breath. That number is quite a bit higher, and so in the year 2020 here, the record is currently sitting at 24 minutes and 3.45 seconds. 24 minutes without taking a breath. Some of you, this is now what, 35 seconds into you holding your breath, and some of you you're done, right? And that's okay. So air is most important when it comes to physiological needs. Water is very important. Air and water. How long can you go without water? Oh, well, I don't drink water. I just drink orange juice and Coca-Cola and coffee. Guess what? Hey, those are all like 99% water. Oh, I don't drink anything, I just eat stale toast. Well, stale toast is still chock full of water. And so, sorry, it still counts. So how long can you go? Scientists think that, it's been shown that about 3 days without water, without something to drink, your body starts to shut down. Guinness Book of World Records says the longest anybody's has gone without water is 18 days. 18 days. And that's because a guy over in Czechoslovakia, oh, that doesn't exist anymore, in the Czech Republic, he was arrested. He was the jail cell was too full, so the guard put him down in the basement of this jail, and then the guard quit the next day and didn't tell anybody that he had put somebody down in the basement. So 18 days later, somebody's walking down there to go get a broom or something, and they found this guy with no food or water for 18 days. Now, Guinness Book of World Records puts a little star next to this and says, yeah, we think that maybe he licked the wall, and the wall might have had some condensation on it. Okay, I'm still going to give it to him, right? So, is anybody still holding your breath? Good for you if you are, because it's been about, what, a minute and a half? Good for you. Let's see. Air, water, food. You got to have food. Man, I know, you're sitting there in third hour and lunch, let's see, and lunch is still another hour away, and it's been 2 hours or 3 hours since you've had breakfast, and you're starving to death. I get it. How long could you go without food? How long could you go? Again, for some of you, as you get closer to lunchtime, all you can think about is, what am I having for lunch? You're not thinking about math, you're thinking about lunch. How long can you go? Well, Guinness Book of World Records, right? It says, well, there are a lot of different versions of this, because some of these people may have made claims that cannot be verified. So, for example, in 304 AD, so 1700 years ago, there's a lady, Anastasia, who was sentenced to death by starvation. She went 60 days without food. They got frustrated because she was still feeling fine, so they put her out on a boat to drown, and then she didn't drown, and so they brought the boat came back on its own, and she was still there, so they decided just to burn her at the stake, because clearly she was a witch, because nobody can go for 60 days without food. Well, yes, apparently they can. There's a guy who went 74 days without food, and then he died. There's other people who have gone for 200 days, but they took vitamins. I don't know if that counts. There's an idea, or there's a story out there that somebody went for 11 months. 11 months without food. This person also says that they can turn invisible and walk through walls. The general rule is 3 minutes with no air, 3 days with no food. 3 days with no water, 3 weeks with no food. 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks. 21 days with no food? Still in the bottom level, Maslow says there are a couple other things. Let's see, shelter. You got to have shelter. If you're caught out in a hailstorm, you're thinking you got to get under shelter, right? Yesterday we had a hailstorm coming through my town, and it dropped dime-size and nickel-size hail. Bunch of people across the street were riding their skateboards up and down the street in this hailstorm, and I'm thinking, okay, a dime-size hail plunks you on the head and whatever. Quarter size, golf ball size, that'll get your attention. Oh, that will get your attention. In fact, the town just northwest of us, just 15 miles northwest of us, had tennis ball size hail, which was going through people's car windshields. If you're caught out in that, yeah, you don't want to be thinking that's a good idea. So you got to have shelter. You're thinking shelter if you don't have it. If the tornado siren goes off, you're not thinking about your math problem. You're not thinking about reading your history textbook. You're thinking, I got to get in the tornado shelter. The last one, and again, there's several that are here on the bottom, but the last one I want to talk about is sleep. Right? Some of you are sitting there thinking, shouldn't have stayed up all night talking to my boyfriend or girlfriend on the phone because I'm too sleepy to sit here and concentrate on math, or I'm too sleepy to concentrate on whatever I'm concentrating on. So you gotta sleep, right? And you're thinking that. So air, water, food, shelter, sleep. That's the bottom row. The next row, Maslow says, is safety. Safety. And so we're not talking about just your physical safety. We're not talking about just your physical safety, although that obviously is important. 20,000 years ago, if you're worried about that saber-toothed tiger coming into your cave, well, then you're worried about the saber-toothed tiger coming into your cave. In the year 2020, if you're sitting there in an apartment complex and you're worried about the guy next door who has a gun coming into your apartment complex, well, then that's what you're worried about. So it's physical safety. But then also, we're talking about your emotional safety. Do you feel okay? Your mental safety, are you okay? Your financial safety. Do you have money to go get the food and the water? Although, remember, this is a pyramid, and so if you're sitting there with $100,000 in your bank account and you're feeling pretty good about it, but then you start choking on your cheeseburger and you can't breathe, you're not worried about the $100,000. You're worried about the air. So you can, even though you've made it up to the second level, you can go back to that first level pretty dang quick. Okay, so if you have air, water, food, shelter, sleep, if you feel safe, then Maslow says you can go to the next level. Ooh, I'm going to do this one upside down. Oh, it's terrible. That's supposed to be a heart. So this is the love level. So the love level is your friendships and your family and your significant others. So different types of love. The type of, can you give love? Can you receive love? When you say, would you like to go for a walk to your dog, and your dog looks up at you and with those big old brown puppy dog eyes and says, I would like to go for a walk. I love you. That's a type of love. When grandma grabs your cheek and she squeezes your cheek and she says, oh, grandma loves you, here's a cookie. That's a type of love. And then obviously you have your, hey, you want to go out Friday night to a movie and dancing? I don't dance, but a movie and a dinner. Then that's another type of love, right? And so Maslow says, if you can accept love and you can give love, then you're good on this level. And friendship as well. If you're struggling with this level, and you're sitting there in math class and you're worried about whether the girl next to you or the guy next to you is thinking about you, and you write the little note, do you like me? Yes, no, maybe, check the box. You're not worried about the sine and cosine and tangent. You're worried about which box they're going to check on the note. Does anybody even do that anymore? They're probably on the text. But regardless, you're worried about that instead. And if you're sitting there thinking about your boyfriend or girlfriend, but then you think, man, I'm really, really thirsty. You quit thinking about your boyfriend or girlfriend. You're thinking about, I really want to go get a drink of water, because that's how that works. And if somebody were to walk into the classroom and start throwing desks, well, that's the safety level, so you're going to drop down to safety level. Okay, so if you have all those physiological, safety, and the love level, if you've met those, then you can go to the next level. And so the penultimate level, esteem. The esteem level. Okay, so the esteem level, according to Maslow, is the level where you give respect to others and you give respect to yourself. Are you accomplishing things? At the end of the day, when you lay down in bed and you say, what did I do today? Did you accomplish something? Did you do something good? Did you meet a goal? Are you moving towards a goal? And so this is esteem. Did you win an award? Are people respecting you? Are you part of a group that is accomplishing a goal? So this is the esteem level. So this is where you are learning your math, and you're learning about Genghis Khan, and you're learning about Robert Frost and his poetry, and you're learning about Isaac Newton science, or you're playing your trumpet or whatever you're doing. So this is where you're learning your stuff, and you are accomplishing being a student. The esteem level. Okay. If you're meeting your esteem needs, and you feel loved, and you feel safe, and you can breathe, and you're not thirsty, and you're not hungry, and you're not sleepy, and you have a roof over your head, Maslow says there's the top of the triangle. And so the top of the triangle it's called self-actualization. Okay, so self-actualization, and I like to think of this, the top of the triangle, as the be all you can be. It's a motto from the Army back in the 90s. Be all you can be. This is where you are able to be creative. Where you are able to make moral decisions and talk about philosophy and talk about things like prejudice and accept facts that you didn't know before. Excuse me. And talk about laws and things like that. The big picture, self-actualization. Are you being what you've always wanted to be? Are you doing what you've always wanted to do? Are you at the top of your triangle? So back in 3rd grade, I wanted to become a teacher. And here we are 40 years later. Wow, 40 years later since 3rd grade. And I'm at the top of my triangle because I'm being what I want to be. I want to be a teacher. And I like to think I'm trying to be creative here, and I'm trying to be moral, and I'm trying to get you guys to expand your mind a little bit. So that's the top of the triangle. However, it is real time. It's 11:30, which means that it's starting to become lunchtime. So I'm starting to get the... And if I continue, I'm going to drop down on I'm going to drop down on my triangle because I'm going to get too hungry to be talking. So with that, why is Maslow's triangle important? How does it relate to world history or American history or geography or anthropology or English or math or drama or band? It relates to all of that, and that's something that we can talk about later. Okay, yeah, think it through. Gosh, I hope you're not still holding your breath. If you are, well, you may have broken the record. I don't know. How far are we into this? There you go. All right, you know the drill. Be good. Stay safe. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.